I am not gonna be here long. One, because I have my child with me. That's one thing. Yes, I did use a blend of for the video itself. I used AI. I basically used a picture of myself because I asked that jacket and that shirt. This is the actual shirt from that jacket, from the video. That's yeah, and this is the let me just and then this is the jacket. So it basically did like a AI version of me that doesn't look like me, and that was intentional. Initially, I wanted it to look like me, but then I was like, not really. So, like my hair kind of being that long is pretty accurate. Shout out to Duke Williams. He is actually like this is not me being like, oh, no, he is like a phenomenal producer. I'm still confused. I'm like, you want to work with me? What in the world? So, um, I don't I don't have no answer for that. All I just know is one day we just followed each other, and then that was that. So my mindset is like, hey, this person created this. I didn't think of that. There's times where I collab with other producers as far as like production, but I mean, clearly in this case, that's not what happened. Like, I mean, from Mr. Pruitt, Mr. Farrell, excuse me, Mr. Farrell, Michael Pruitt. That's his name, Michael Pruitt, aka Mr. Farrell. Brian, aka Caleb Durham. He's one of the main cats, producer wise, that I collab with. V Smooth. He produced the last track that I did before this single. That song was called In the Air. So there's like not too many people as of late that I mean, and even before that, there's other songs that I did with other people. Um, Preppy Beats, Jamaican American. He's from New York. He lives in Florida. We've worked before, so it's really like not too many people that I've worked with. So, anyways, the reason why I say Google because I'm under the impression these people are trying to figure out who you are too. They may see your gift, they may see your talent, and then they may be like, well, let me see what else you can do. Let me see what other things you've created. I'll be honest, and I appreciate him. That's why I was like, me, somebody like me. Because the reason why I say that is because when you do your research and you find out who these people have worked with, I'll fix it. When you do your research and you find out the people who they've worked with, you'll be like, for me, I was like, what in the world? Like, why you want to work with me? And that's how I look at it because I'm looking at it from a perspective of like social status and social notoriety. That's the way my brain works because there's one particular side of the music industry, and there's another side too. It's relational things. I was just watching a video recently, and Robert Glasper was talking about being relational. I am a people person, but then you got some people that's just like weird and funny acting, and weird stuff happens, and you lose those relationships or just whatever. They just show who they really are. Then that's it. Your gifts and talents will get you into a digital room or a real or a physical room, but then it's gonna be your character. Say excuse me, baby. Okay. But your character is gonna keep you there, more or less. And then there's some places you just ain't supposed to be in, and then there's some people you're just not supposed to be connected to, or it's just a season. So I mean, I dealt with that before. So I appreciate the fact that, and I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail. That's I'm just saying it for what it is. He was just like we added each other. And then a few months later, he was just like, "Let's cook up a song," and I said, "Okay." And that was primarily it. And what I appreciate is that uh, Duke. And here's the other thing too, and this is what I told him. I at least tell you the things that I said. I'm not going to like. He was just like, "Fix this, fix that," and I listened and I fixed it. And he didn't tell me how to write. He just said he didn't tell me change these lyrics. It has to sound like this. You have to do it like that. He was just like, move this here and write something new. That's basically what he said, and that was in reference to like my hook and my pre-hook. And that was pretty much it. And I was like, okay. And I was really like wrecking my brain, like, so what do I do? Like, I get what he's saying. So let me figure this out. And I figured it out and I sent it back to him. And he was like, all right, bet we in there. And that was that. And then the other part was just me just working on my mix and just fixing that. And once I tweaked that, he was like, okay, cool. You did da 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 da. And I was like, yes, because I'm really big on like I especially well just in general. I'm really big on my stuff trying to sound as professional as I possibly can, especially because especially because I came from Full Sail, right? And I'm like I want to make my school look good. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. The other thing is when you hear if you ever decide to go and watch my videos or whatever, and you see, well, I went back to Hall of Fame week, and I got a chance to meet Leslie Brathwaite and Tremaine Williams, and these guys, you need to like Google these people. Remember how back in the day we used to read the credits from the CD, like our CD booklet or pamphlet or whatever. Research these guys. Research Duke. Like these cats are really big deals, but we primarily only look at like this person as like well, the super producer or the singer. We don't ever look at the credits of who wrote the song, who produced the song, who wrote the song. It's, you know what I'm saying? We tend to think like, oh, the singer did all of it. Nah. Or the singer wrote it. Nah. Sometimes it's the producer that wrote the song. You know what I'm saying? It's the engineer clearly like either mixed and mastered or somebody tracked it. Matter of fact, Matthew Knowles, I saw a video today actually where he was just like, he said that song was a mix. It was clearly mixed, but I was wanting to argue and say that, oh, it was probably a rough mix. Because somebody was like, yeah, man, the synthesizer on one part always stuck out. It was always loud. I was like, it was probably a rough mix. And they just, and Matthew Knowles just probably just felt a certain way and was just like, nah, let's just run it with this and got it mastered. And he said, y'all didn't know. Man, that was in the early 2000s. I was a teenager when that song came out. Um, in the club, jumping, jumping, right? And he was like, y'all didn't know. He said, man, I just took it like that and got it mastered. And y'all didn't know. And then when you start listening to certain things, like, oh, as an engineer, I'm like, oh, yeah, I see what he's saying now. Yeah, it was a rough mix. Cause when he said master, I'm pretty sure he was like, I ain't got time for that. Just give me a rough mix. If anything, give me a rough mix, and I'm gonna go and get it mastered. So, but you still hear effects. You still hear kind of the vocals are leveled a certain way, but it's sat well enough to where it's like the rough mix was like, no, that's doable. Let's go and run it, and go ahead and put this out. We're not gonna sit on this for months on end or however long they had to wait. He was like, nope, we're gonna take it and run with it, and it was a hit single for X amount of months or weeks or whatever, and people still play the original joint to this day. There's no unless you're in like the producer world, the engineer world or whatever, to where they like still like, man, nah, had we had did this, it would have been da 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 da. But like the feeling of it, they used to play that song at the club when I was a teenager. And it was a bop. And then we, you know what I mean? And that was it. And so, but in my case, because I'm working with, I got blessed to work with somebody like Duke Williams. And the reason why I'm like still like really shocked and will be shocked is because one, somebody of that caliber, and just even with other people that are not like they're very phenomenal producers. Like they're dope. I'm not gonna like knock any of their gifts and their talents. The people that I worked with before, right? And even with those people, I'm like, dang, you want to work with me? Like I still think like that. Like, dang, you want to work with me? You think I'm good enough that you want to work with me? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking of like, and this is something I think I got to work on, and I think that this is something that God has been dealing with me since, sorry, since being at Hall of Fame week is like the whole imposter syndrome type of thing. And I wrestle with that because for me, I'm so used to more or less being looked over or being like the last picked in something. I'm really accustomed to that. Yes, there are some people that really think I'm dope, and then there's some people that's just like they just overlook you, or you're the last one to be picked. I'm like, oh, I guess we'll work with him, and then they're like, oh, nah, we should have picked him from the jump. So that's my mindset is, dang, you want to work with me? Like you think I'm good enough that you know what I'm saying that you will want to work with? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm under like I've heard other people, and I'm like, yo, this person worked with this person, or this person has a really good voice. And although I grew up in a church, and I'm actually still active in church, I'm just behind the scenes. I'm not in the choir. I'm not in none of that because of my job. I'm in the background. I grew up singing in church. You got all of that going on. And I'm just like, dang, bro, you still want to work with me? You think I'm nice? You think I'm decent enough to, you know what I'm saying? Because I think about, like, even when I did my research on Duke, I was like, you want to, sorry, I'm not trying to distort. You want to work with me? I'm like, just Google who he's worked with. And I'm like, you want to work with me? And I'm like, all right, cool. Am I still shocked right now? Yes. Even with V Smooth, like he had shared some stuff with me behind the scenes, and I was like, "You actually want to work with me? With in comparison to the people that you work with, you want to work with me?" And that's just the thing that I think. You know what I'm saying? Even when I got the chance to work with Tiffany, regardless of me, like yes, I had to pay her. Yes, there was a thing when she was like, "I want to work with people," but it's like she still had to actively go and listen to something that I did to say, "Okay, bet I'm gonna work with this guy." And then with in Tiffany's case, she trusted me enough to like mix. Okay, she trusted me enough to remix her vocals for my session because she outright said, "Yo, I usually don't send people my vocals to or sessions," and I'm like, "Well, I'm an engineer, you know what I'm saying? So if anything, I'm gonna either tweak what your engineer did, or I'm just gonna just redo it. Period. Because there's some things that I heard that needs to be fixed. Right? I'm not gonna go into detail. There's a song I heard with another and there's no shot, but it was just like I heard it a certain way. There was another artist that she worked with recently around the same time when I released my joint. And I was like, yo, that's a stark difference. At least have it similar. It was just, I was just like, but see, I'm real big on that. I'm real big on like trying my best to make it sound as professional and high quality as I possibly can with the tools that I have. No, I don't have no $100,000 studio. I don't have $1 million studio. I just got stuff from school, stuff that I got already, stuff that I purchased, plugins, all this good stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna make it work. Praise God, I got blessed with some speakers. I got speakers from school, and Leslie and Tremaine was like, we're gonna invest in you more or less. Here, we want to give you these speakers, and they help. And they was like, fix this, fix that. And I did some other stuff and got some other different plugins that's gonna help because I was really like, no, I need to fix this. This needs to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like going forward, like it was something pretty, the original. Imagine if I did something pretty to remix with Tiffany Evans before I went to Full Sail. Oh man, they would have been like, what? Right? So, and I'm trying not to say the N-word because my daughter's right here. But you know what I'm saying? But it didn't happen that way. It happened after the fact, like months after I left Hall of Fame week. I'm really big on trying to get my stuff to sound as good as it possibly can, and that's just really me. And so the fact that he wanted to work with me meant a lot. So now, um, he liked the song. Some of y'all that either watched the video, saw a clip of it, or did whatever, or reposted it, thank you. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed the song. There's a lot of stuff going on with Spotify, primarily Spotify, because everybody uses Spotify. Me personally, I try to go towards YouTube Music because I pay for YouTube because I hate ads. So I listen to a lot of music on YouTube. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of the song. I know some people are gonna come in,
Meat potatoes.
Meat and potatoes. Say meat and potatoes.
Meat potatoes.
I actually wrote it from a place of frustration. That's one from a relational frustration, but it's essentially twofold. So I really did submit for Grammy consideration. That was a real thing. I don't. And just in case people think I'm lying, I'm not. That really happened. I have tangible proof. I still got my ID numbers for the songs that I submitted, right? So I actually submitted three things. It was the full album Love Languages, it was Something Pretty with Ashley King, and then it was Something Pretty to remix with Tiffany Evans. Now, I said this before, but what I wish I had was did more research about remixes and submitted the song with Tiffany Evans for a remix. But like they never said it, so that was my fault. They just rejected the song for the remix with Tiffany Evans, and that's that. And because I had a conversation with her about it, and we just talked about some. I'm not gonna go into detail about that, but I did tell her, hey, um, I'm allowed to submit because I'm still a part of Grammy U. So my membership with Grammy U is going to be up in like August or September of next year. So, but yeah, in any case, that really did happen. I had to figure out how to go about campaigning. So, just not going into a lot of details. It actually went pretty well. But going back to what Robert Glasper said about certain things, it's still relational. So, like people, they may have heard whoever can because you have to get like a campaign company. So I did find one, and they were very affordable. Praise God, I was still struggling because I had to pay child support and pay rent and pay my car note and make sure I had to eat. Bro, that was rough. As an independent, bro, doing this all on your own is rough. Y'all think marketing is hard on TikTok and other social media platforms. Imagine trying to do something like this, and you're a parent paying child support. I had to just to keep it a buck. I recently started removing people, again off of social media, because I'm like, I'm not here to compete with nobody. I'm not here to compare myself like that. Like I compare now. I'll say this: I don't compete with other people, but I do compare myself to other people from the perspective of, dang, I'm trying to catch up to you to at least get to where. Cause it's like this is a weird mindset to have. I'm like, I know I'm your peer. You might not think that I'm your peer. You may think I'm just a fan. I'm not a fan. Not like from the perspective, like I love what you do. I enjoy what you do. But when I think of fan, I think of fanatic, right? You're just a number. You don't really mean too much anything. It's just like having a bunch of followers and you don't try to um interact with none of those people. Not really. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think I don't with certain people that I want to work with, I'm like, I know I gotta catch up to you so you can see that I'm a peer. I'm not a fan. I'm a peer. I love what you do. I enjoy what you do. You inspire me in certain, depending on who the person is. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I gotta catch up because I know I'm a peer. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to catch up to be in some type of relational thing with you. You know what I'm saying? Music wise, like Caleb, he's my peer. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We talk a lot. Well, not really a lot, but we talk enough, right? Either every other day or every one. We talk. We stay in like real communication with each other. We actually do communicate with each other, right? So that's my guy, and I've been knowing him for a couple years. Real cool dude, right? We keep it simple, we keep it brief, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy, right? But he's my peer. He's my musical peer, right? Now you got some people that are not musical peers. It's somebody that you like. I wouldn't say like a mentor, so to speak, but somebody who's seasoned, right? So they're gonna give you. I put it like this. This is what I told Duke. I said I'm a student. So at Full Sail, if anything, I would say he's like a teacher. He's like a professor because I looked at him like the advice that he gave me was the similar advice that my teacher, Derek Harvin, gave me when I was in school. He was like, change this, change that. And that's all he pretty much said. He was like, well, try this, but change this for waifu. He said, change this, change that, and let's see what you do. And I changed it. He's like, man, I wasn't even expecting that. I was like, well, you told me to change it. He's like, I know he was going to change it like this. Now, when people hear it, especially like the second verse, it's like, man, that makes me think of mint condition. I wouldn't even think about mint condition. I was thinking about Yu Yu Hakusho for the second part with the stab. Dun, 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 dun. Right? I was thinking about that. Yeah, baby. So basically, I felt the way. I mean, clearly, I didn't get nominated. But the other thing is, with Grammy nomination, it's based on it's peer to peer, and I'm not a peer to these people. That was the thing that kind of like grinded my gears personally in reference to. You know what? I think I am gonna paste this in here because maybe somebody might catch it and might be like, hey, let's consider that if we do this again. What I wish would have happened with allowing the Grammy U members to submit was that it had a whole separate category or had a whole separate ceremony for Grammy U members, and it would have been like a Grammy U recording a Grammy U Grammy. Like we get, it's still an official Grammy, but it's for like, because technically we will be considered like, even though I'm a graduate of my school, I'm an underclassman in reference to the Recording Academy. Where Grammy U is under Recording Academy. And the sad part is that not too many people that are Recording Academy voting members, like, I don't think they're aware of Grammy U. Like, I had to tell them, like, hey, I'm a part of Grammy U. And it's like, oh, okay. I'm like, I don't think they were aware. And for me, I'm like, so that's one thing. Yeah, I mean, they did, and technically they did, Caleb. But my gripe with that is that we were basically pitted against seasoned acts. And my category, Bilal, was in there. I said, Bilal? I was like, Bilal been in the game for like 30 years. Bilal? I said, he's come up with other projects after, like the Soul Sister project. But I'm like, Bilal? And going against Duran Bernard and what's the what Destin somebody, I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And then you got people that are already. The other thing is being established in the industry because mind you, and this is a real thing. There are acts that are either you're in like the main hubs, you're in LA, you're in Atlanta, you're somewhere in Miami, in the Florida area, or you're in like the New York area or the DMV area. Bless you, baby. Bless you. I wrote this song. So Duke reached out to me a little bit after the campaign. So this is recent. So he reached out and he sent me some tracks and I wrote to like 3 tracks. He sent me 4 tracks. He sent me 4 tracks and I wrote to 3. It was like the day after the campaign. No, it was not after the campaign. It was the day of the nominations. So I'm only telling my side of the story because I don't know what he was thinking. He may or may not ever say anything. I mean, cool. I mean, I'm genuinely curious. Like, bro, what are you seeing? Um, he sent me 4 tracks. I wrote to 3, and then but you and I is the one that stuck out the most. And he was like, let's. He's like, you got something to look, and that's what happened. But basically, I was feeling away. This was the second song that I wrote. I wrote another song, and he was just like, I like this one, and I said, okay, baby, Yana-chan. So he said, I like this one. Let's focus on this one. And I was like, okay, cool. So I had other background vocals going on, and he was like, especially during the bridge. So I wrote it based on 2 different instances. Me feeling away because I was in my little feelings. Oh, I didn't get nominated. I thought I was going to at least be nominated. Me being super optimistic. I'm rarely optimistic for myself. Inside voice child. Wait, so I felt away about that, and I was just going through like my own thoughts about relationships. I recently, well, it'll be a year next month that I've been divorced. And so I'm just like, God, am I going to even find a woman that you have for me? And so I was writing from a place where I just like how I'm writing from a place of where I feel right now and how I think. So I was writing from a place of from a relational place as well. More so that than like the Grammy thing. The Grammy thing just made me feel away. I was angry. I was just really angry. I was like, oh man, money and I got to pay child support and rent and God. But I think if anything, that probably played a part in other people, at least people on the inside over there, at least being familiar with me. Will I ever try to submit for that again? I don't know. Probably. But I had to be a voting member first to do that. This was just the timing of it was just crazy with Grammy U. She got all the energy in the world because she took a nap. I wrote from a place of just how I felt relationally. And I mean, if you see what's going on with a lot of things with social media, with people's relationships, in reality, a lot of that stuff is really revealing people's hearts and minds. People are like, oh, social media messed up relationships. No, it didn't. It just revealed a lot of stuff that was always going on that people just never really talked about, or both for both parties. People was gaslighting, people was da 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 da. It's like, no, it was always hard, but you didn't really hear about it as much. And then I think if anything, social media in 2 different perspectives empowered people in a good way and in a negative way. Right hand on the Bible swore I wanted to give up on you. The way life been, there seemed all hope was through. At the start of my wits end, baby, I had the notion to give in. So I'm not gonna go into detail, but a little bit after, before the divorce, I was separated from her mother, and I was just like, do I want to be um a foxtrot boy? I can't say that in front of her. Not I don't cuss, but even just the letter, I don't even want to say that. Do I want to be a foxtrot boy? Like these dudes out here just, you know what I'm saying, breaking people's hearts and playing games. Because some chicks tend to like dudes like that, and then they be like, oh well, he broke my heart because I thought. And it's like you like that type of dude. Some people they just don't want nobody solid, or they want a side dude because the dude that they really want ain't doing right. It's like, so I'm gonna get a side dude that's gonna do right by me. You know how weird that sounds? You're gonna get a side dude that does right by you because the main dude ain't doing right. That's so weird to me. I always thought that was weird. I was like, do I give that type of energy off? Like, do I have the face of a side dude? Like, what's going on? I mean, clearly that's not the case, but I was like, I didn't sign up for that. So, anyways, I wrote it from that place. Like I was feeling the way. I was like, I just wanted to give up and just be out here in these streets. But I'm like, I think about other people, and I'm like, I don't want to hurt other people. Some people got kids. I don't want their kids to. I've dated chicks that had kids, and their kids look up to me like, this is a really nice guy, and then they mom act weird. So then they looking at me like, so you don't want to be in our lives anymore? Your mom's weird. Now it's gonna be weird. Absolutely not. I don't do that. I move on about my business. I don't play those type of games. That's how I was feeling. Do I be a foxtrot dude and just be out here, you know what I'm saying, playing with people's heads and wasting women's time and stuff like that? Do I do all that? And I'm just like, I don't want to do anything like that. I'm not wired for stuff like that. That's not I don't that's not fun. I've tried it before and I was just never okay. I was just never okay with that. And it's not me thinking I'm better than anybody else. I just know that the way I was wired and the way my upbringing was, I was just like, I'm not doing that. I don't like that feeling because like I just don't like that feeling. But I was wrestling like, well, if this is what y'all want, y'all want to play games, okay, bet. Or y'all just want, I'm like, no, I'm some woman's husband. You know what I'm saying? I've been married twice. And so that's why I wrote that song the way that I wrote it. I thought, so I'm writing from a perspective of, because I'm 41. I just turned 41. I have a child from my previous marriage. And I'm like, man, is it gonna forever just be like this? Am I gonna just keep dealing with weird chicks? I'm like, God, this can't. And I've said this before, not just like on social media. I've like on my own said this before. I was like, God, this cannot be all that's left. This can't be all that's left, God. That doesn't even make any sense. Why would you wire me to be a husband type and that be all that's left? Like who? I know if it felt. That's what I was like, and that's why right in the second verse, I say I thought love hated me was playing in my face. The reason why I say that it's a spin on well not really a spin, it's almost like a head nod towards Jasmine Sullivan's song Lions, Tigers, and Bears. She says, why do we love love when love seems to hate us? And it's like, well, that's not true because God is love. And that's scriptural. So no, and I've said this before, no, it's not that. It's what you say? Yeah, it's not that love hates us. It's just that people abuse the concept. Yes, baby. I'm too loud. Okay, child. No, but okay. I'm gonna use my inside voice. Okay. All right. You use your inside voice. Yeah, baby. Okay. Let me finish this. Okay, baby. Let me talk. So, Yana Chan. Oh, it's not that love hates us. It's just that the way people, sorry, my face. It's just that the way that people utilize our hearts towards love and they try to get what they can get from us. And that's a people thing. it's a person thing. It's a person to person. It's not a male or female thing. It's a like all one. No, it's just a people thing. And even like in my case, I mean, clearly I'm dealing with women. That's all I'm gonna ever deal with is women. Okay, but I remember talking to my therapist, and I was like, "Well, what's wrong with me?" He was just like, so for me, and this is another reason why I wrote the song the way that I wrote it. So I was the marriage counselor slash therapist that we had like a couple years before we got divorced. Like him and I, we talk because he's a pastor as well. And I don't mind saying some of this publicly. He was like, because I'm like really big into prophetic and stuff like that. And I'll say that. Like, I've been like that since like my early 20s. And so, him and his wife, they was like, well, did God give you any prophetic words about about your wife? I was like, yeah, I got stuff from like 2015. And you know what I'm saying? I fasted and God gave me some stuff and a lot of stuff had already happened. Like it was other like little landmarks. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail publicly. There's a lot of little landmarks around the prophetic word that God gave me before me and my wife. Other things were going to happen with other people, and exes was going to do X, Y, Z, and that stuff had already happened. And so I thought that her mother was it because she kind of like fit some things. And I was like, yeah. And so they looked at each other, and they asked her mother. They was like, well, did God give you anything? She's like, no. They was like, oh. And I was like, so before that, um, well, after that, I remember talking to it was a lot going on. Even just being connected, I was just like I remember he had asked us. I'll never say like the therapist's name publicly because that's kind of like private information. But I was just like we he had talked to us and he was like, "You guys have the Holy Spirit. You guys believe in the gifts of the Spirit." He's like, "So where's the Holy Spirit at in this?" And I was like, "Oh, now as a husband." That convicted me because I know my role as like being a spiritual lead over the house and watching my wife with the word because the scripture is supposed to be watching me with the word because we're all part of the bride of Christ. And I remember I was talking to her and I was just like, yo, what he said really convicted me. We need to get back into the word together. We need to be praying again together. We need to be worshiping together. We had did this stuff before, but when it came to getting into the word, she wanted to debate me. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing this no more. Because I was like, I'm not trying to debate you. I'm trying to, the scripture is telling me to do this. I'm supposed to be doing this. And this is, see, this instances where we were talking. I'm like, well, what do you think it is? And I was like, some people think like this. What do you think? She's like, well, no, da, 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 da. And then she'll come out like, why you ask me that for? You seem like you hate women. I was like, no. I was like, I don't hate women at all. Let me go ahead and continue this. I said, I don't hate women at all. I'm like, I'm big on women being accountable, just like men are supposed to be accountable. I'm big on women being wise according to what scripture said, just like scripture tells us as men to be wise. Like I'm big on that. And you know what I'm saying? I probably should have did better vetting with her before we got married. I was still just like I was still from the mindset of, oh, she'll come around and if I just keep loving her correctly and being mindful. No, because some people they don't care about stuff like that. They just more like how you gonna treat me because you're gonna get what you're gonna get. And if you get what you're gonna get, I guess you're okay with it. And it's like, no. Because if you're not okay with stuff, what makes you think that I'm okay with stuff? That just doesn't make any sense. So all that happens. So she was just like, well, we can do this, but that ain't gonna work. So I'm like, hold on, you mean to tell me we're gonna trust God and desire that God be back in this thing by doing X, Y, Z, but being on one accord, by being on the same page. And you mean to tell me that's not going to work? And I was like, she's like, well, I'm not saying that. Then what are you saying? Because you're saying that. So you're gaslighting me, bro. It's like you're telling me that's not gonna work. And I'm like, oh, so if we don't do these things to do this, then it's not gonna help us? Oh, I'm not saying that. Well, what are you saying, dog? And from that point, then I knew we were cooked because I was already like in a separate part of the house anyway. So I was like, oh, we're done, done, done. And y'all might laugh at it. I moved out, and Shorty was singing a song by Beyonce that was actually written by Neo, Irreplaceable. I was like, oh, okay. And oh, sorry. I was like, all right, dog. I said, all right, bet. I said, all right, bet. So, anyways, I was talking to my therapist about stuff, and he was like, here's the issue. He said the issue is that you're not, he talking to me. And I know some people seeing this, and I'm not a sexist. I'm, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just a believer. That's it. But he said the issue is that you're, is not that you're picking wrong, so to speak. He said the issue is that you're not where you need to be in your life specifically. I'm paraphrasing. You're not where you know you need to be at in your life. So you settle for what's readily available, right? He said, I'll say it again. So basically, he said, you're not where you need to be at to get the woman you know that you need. And because you're not where you know you need to be at to get the woman you know that you actually need, you settle for what's readily available. And what's readily available doesn't mesh with your purpose and your calling. Essentially, that's what was going on. Even when I met her mom, I was really big on talking about relationships. And I'm not no guru. I remember one of the sisters in the faith was like, oh, you're this relationship guru. No, I'm not. Don't say that about me. 'Cause I just share what I learn. When somebody else teach me something, I share it too, right? If God gives me insight on something, or I learn from my experiences, or I learn from another conversation, I share that information too. That's it. Because my mindset was, man, you know, even if I never get married, I want to at least help somebody else get what I'm trying to get, at least that. But some people are like, why should I listen to you? I'm like, bro, I just, like, even if I don't get it, I care. I don't think like that. Now I'm like, nah, I need to get that. I need it. But in any case, so that's why I wrote the lyrics from, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Exactly, bro. Exactly. And so, but I wrote, so anyways, I'm writing from these experiences and how I'm currently feeling. Like I feel like currently right now, I feel like it's too late. I'm not speaking that over my life. It just looks like it's too late. And you know how God be moving. I'm like, it looks like it's too late. It looks like this is all that's left. It's just this. And I'm like, all the stuff I've been dealing with, the goofiness, you mean to tell me that's all that's left to deal with? That I gotta put up with? Ain't no way. On God's green earth, is he gonna have people, men like me, prepare us, get our heads right? We ain't out here playing games just to deal with what's ready, what's this? Ain't no way. Somebody lying. Somebody out here lying. I refuse to believe that this is all we see. And so we're getting overlooked and da 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 da. Oh, we just don't meet. And this is why I said before. I said we're in a season of more of the right people meeting the right person. Because before it was usually the wrong person meeting somebody that's healthy, meeting some, because it's like, well, I want this, and oh, this person ain't gonna do right. I'm just gonna grab somebody else that I know is gonna do right. You know how many times that's happened to me? And I'm not, and this is not making myself the victim because I don't want to be a victim. That's a sucky feeling. I don't like that. I don't like dealing with stuff like that. I want something healthy. I don't want to be like, oh well, this chick did this and this. But I don't like that. I'm not okay with that. I want to be like, yo, my shorty is dope. I'm praying even for an enemy that you get something similar to me that'll probably help you not be an enemy to me no more. If you had something healthy in your life, but I pray that you get healthy, big dog, right? So that's just my mindset. That's how I feel. So in any case, I write from that place, and I'm like, I'm writing to bypass how I'm feeling, right? I'm writing to bypass how I'm currently feeling and what I'm currently. It's just very similar to like how Abraham was. How Scripture says that Abraham hoped against hope. Scripture was like him and his wife was like, you know, God said that we're gonna have a kid in our old age. How is that gonna happen? We understand that he got Abraham got with a counterfeit, right? Like my child was supposed to be here. Period. I just that's a whole different discussion, right? But period is just the vessel she came through. But my child was supposed to be here. Period. I already knew well before I met her mom that I was going to have a daughter first. That I knew. So in any case, but it was just like, all right. So I wrote it from a place of hoping against hope. Like, God, I'm going to trust you in meeting the woman that you have for me. Because mind you, I've been married twice. The first time I was 19. The second time I was like 36, going on 37. Right? When I with my daughter, or I was 35 because she was born when I was turning 30. So I was 36, 35, going on 36 when I married her mother. And then our daughter was born the next year, right? Like later on in the year. So in the chorus, I mean, in the pre-chorus, I'm like, I thought it was too late, but you were worth the wait. Thought we were running late. Love kept an open gate. So what I'm saying is that God actually gave us grace. Love, God kept an open gate. I thought we were running late. I thought we were running out of time. Now, I'm not saying from the proverbial, because I wrote a song like this years ago thinking that I was on a biological clock. No, we as men are not necessarily on a biological clock. Women more so are than men, right? I was kind of like taught that growing up. I think a lot of us in the Black American community we kind of like taught that. I think just in like being an American period, we kind of like taught that, but that's not true. That's not the case at all. And this is not to be sexist. Women are the ones that are actually on a biological clock more than men, right? So, but I'm thinking like my age, my career, me trying to get the stuff done. I'm like, man, is it too late? Is it too late for me? Is it like even with the music? I was like, is it too late for me to get to where? And mind you, I don't want to per se be famous. Like I understand in certain cases it just comes with it. I'm like, bro, I got bills to pay. I just want to be in a financial place with my music to where I'm comfortable. I don't have to stress. Like I'm able to take care of my daughter. I'm able to take care of myself, and I'm able to take care of my future wife. Also, was good, bro. And I'm able to take care of my future wife and whatever and any other future kids we have together. That's it. I've always had that mindset. All the other extra stuff is literally a luxury that we don't necessarily need. But if it's a blessing, cool. But if we can just have enough and then have something extra on the side to where we ain't looking like, well, what we gonna do next? That's where my head is at. And so my mindset was like, is it too late? And so I wrote from a place where like, no, in fact, it wasn't too late. No, in fact, God did gave me grace, gave me and my future wife grace to still meet each other. Right? Like, no, it's not too late. Yes, God kept an open gate and gave us grace, right, for us to meet each other. Often, and this is why I say again that I think we're in the season where more of the right people are going to meet the person that they're actually supposed to be with. But here is the disclaimer. Here is the caveat to that. What are you going to do when you meet that person? There's a young lady. She, because I did a video talking about this before, but I made a comment on her video, and a lot of people, a lot of more so women was like, yeah, yeah, this is gonna be the season of me meet my person and meet my. And it's like, but what are you gonna? But what if it's? And so here's the thing: what if it's not what you think it's supposed to be? What if it? What if he's not where? What if he or she's not where you think they should be at? What if they don't per se look? Not saying that they're going to be unattractive, but what if you already have a set type and then they look nothing like that? That don't mean that they're going to be unattractive, right? It doesn't mean that. But what if they just don't look like you think, or whatever they don't have what you think they should have? Are you still gonna be like, no, this is not my person. I'm gonna move on. Are you gonna? Because look, this was like you had so many of the wrong ones finding good people, and then they did them right people dirty. You know how many times like we hear stories, male or female, we hear so many stories of like the wrong person getting somebody healthy and just doing them dirty, right? The right person entertaining the wrong person, and it's like it's going to be enough for that. But are you healed enough? Are you mentally prepared enough to receive the person or do to be presented to the person that God had always had designed for you? So that's why I write it from this place. I thought it was too late, but you were worth the wait. Thought we were running late. Love kept an open gate. And that was actually the hook. That was initially the hook. And Duke was like, make that into a pre-hook. I said, okay. And he said, and figure out another hook. And I figured I had to figure out another hook. And that's when it segues into we made the flight on time. It's just us on cloud nine. Now I've used cloud nine before on another verse, but in this case, I was really thinking about Rel's song. If y'all don't know who Rel is from. He used to be a part of Rockefeller back in the day, and he had a song called Cloud Nine. We don't need no ticket to. We don't need no ticket to ride. We can go to Cloud Nine, all right. Don't be shy. We don't need no passes to fly. Something like that. I love that song. I always loved that song since like my late teenage years because that album just never came out until like this year. So, anyways, we made the flight on time. It's just us on cloud nine. Nothing else was on my mind. It's just you and I. That's the hook. And then I said, I thought love hated me was playing in my face. Every time I was close, it was only a delay, right? And usually it was just a delay because it's like, no, this actually something God told me was like, I allowed these other women to do what they already set in their hearts to do. This is what God told me last year. He said, the women that you dealt with, he said, I allowed them to do what they already had set in their hearts to do. I said, man, that's jacked up. He said, no, because there's a blessing connected to you, and I don't want them to be connected to that blessing. Because had I gave you the blessing, I'm not, whatever it is, I haven't received it yet. I'm still on my path to get it. Because in many cases, y'all think the blessing is really part of like the blessing could be playing a part in you going into your next assignment or next assignment. It's not just you getting money and getting physical things and or more notoriety. The blessing can be you going into this next assignment to reach other people that you couldn't reach where you're currently at. Right? That's all it is. How the blessing could be you being a blessing to other people, but you have to go a certain route to where God's like, okay, now I'm going to have you around these people because you were already doing a certain thing around certain people when nobody sees you publicly doing it. So, okay, I trust you in this season. Now I'm going to put you in another area for this next season because I trusted you with the little things of this thing. And I'm going to put you in a position with these other things so you can do the same things you were doing behind closed doors in reference to me trusting you with people. That's just a thought. So it's not always, oh, I got the blessings and I got the money, and as soon as I got this thing, I just went crazy with the money. And it's not always that. It could be part of that, yes, sure. I'm not negating that. I'm not denouncing that. It doesn't. I'm not denying that. But I think it's more so that, more so like, how can you be a blessing to the people that didn't even expect a blessing their way? Just like you may not expect God using people to bless you, God puts you in a position, puts you in another new situation at a higher level or a higher tier to where now you have to be a blessing to somebody else that you weren't expecting to reach or talk to or encourage. You don't know what. When I was in the army, my special ops unit said this: the the only reward is another mission. No, I'm paraphrasing. It's like once you complete, I'm paraphrasing. So once you completed one mission, the best reward or the only reward is another mission. Basically, I trusted you enough to fulfill this mission to the best of your ability. Yes, I gave you grace, right? Because no mission is ever like perfect. There's going to be hiccups here and there, but you still completed the mission. All right. I trusted you with this mission. I got another mission for you, right? That mission is going to require you to da 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 da. Now that mission may require you to work with somebody alongside you so you can be a blessing to other people. What do you do with that? Can I trust you enough with that? You know what I'm saying? Can I trust you with this person? Can this person, is this person, can this person be trusted with you? Right? And this is in reference to, now it's talking about relationships. But every time I was close, it was only a delay. It was done in my favor just so I could finally have favor. Now, that doesn't mean that men don't have favor. That no, because there's biblical scripture that talks about how Boaz had favor well before Ruth came in, and actually it was the complete opposite. She said, "Can I find favor in your sight?" So he already had favor. So men can carry favor too, but it's in reference to favor in reference to completing more of a work. There's certain things that you can do by yourself. And now I'm talking to my brothers. We and vice versa with the sisters. There's only so many things you can do on your own. So it's like trust God, trust the process. It's not too late. God is still preparing you and preparing your significant other. And oftentimes we as men we would see the joke of, yo, God presented your husband to you. You walk. I I know for a fact I haven't met my wife yet. I haven't. I know for a fact why. Because of all the different words of knowledge, the words of wisdom, and the prophetic words. Nobody lined up. I was like, dang, I ain't met her yet. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, But it's still counterfeits that's gonna be coming up. I'm gonna drink this tea. Give me a sec, y'all. I'm gonna grab this tea. But there's still gonna be counterfeits. Probably right when I meet her. There's gonna be counterfeits right around the time I meet her. Like right now, I'm not talking to anybody. Like literally. Which in one perspective, as a man in this climate, what's going on here in the States, I'm kind of like I'm okay with it. Now it may sound jacked up, and again, I'm not sexist, and nor am I misogynist. But I'm like, I'm actually okay that bless you, baby. Bless you, baby. Bless you. Bless you. I'm actually okay that I'm not on women's radar like that. Because one, my mindset is I have a daughter. And my daughter needs to see something healthy when she's with me. I'm not gonna go into the whole conversation, but my daughter looked at me one day. She was like, "Daddy, you need to get married." And that's what I will say. My daughter hasn't seen me with nobody outside of her mother. That's it. I ain't in no chick's face. I ain't dating nobody. I'm not into, and it's by design. It's intentional for me in my case. I'm intentionally like one, I'm still getting things together. Like I'm focusing on my music and taking care of my daughter and work. That's it. Because I've dated and married women to where like I either slow down or I will stop doing something. I'm entertaining women that was trying to discourage me from my purpose and my calling. I was, say, let alone try to get me to stop operating my gift. Why are you doing that for? Or put me in some lump sum of some dude that just woke up one day and said, I want to be a rapper. I'm like, bro, I've been doing this decades before I even knew you existed. What do you, so you mean to tell me I'm gonna stop because you think I can stop? And I know, and I'm realizing you don't even like me like that. Now, why would I stop for somebody that don't like me like that? Am I much? Am I? Do I look like a simp? Am I that much of a simp? Okay, right. That's what Jay. What's his name? Paralysis, whatever his name. And like, no, no, I'm not stopping that. I remember years ago I was dating this girl. I said, man, I'll cut my hair for the right woman. I said, you cut your hair for me? Initially, I was like, yeah. And I looked at her, I was like, I'm not cutting my hair for you. I'm on my Samson. I'm not cutting my hair for you. I don't even see my hair getting cut. That's just another discussion. But I'm like, I'm not stopping. I'm not slowing down. And that was something that my what are their acquaintances now? They were just like, bro, you keep slowing down for the wrong chick. And you know what I'm saying? Even her mother, it's like, yo, you slowing down for the wrong chick. I'm just now recently going more outside. Like a few years after that. As soon as we got separated, I went outside. Man, I remember I went to this bar, this club, this girl support this other chick. I'm chilling by myself. Literally, I don't want nobody's attention. Mind you, I'm still married at the time, but we're separated. But marriage is marriage. I'm minding my own business. That don't mean that like I may tell that story later. I don't know when would be a good time to ever talk about that. But in any case, I'm minding my own business. I ain't fooling with nobody. I'm literally just to myself. I'm at this club. I'm supporting this other chick singing. I'm vibing. I'm having the time of my life by myself, singing the songs, just minding my own business. This older woman, she had to be like at least in her 50s, literally came saw me from across the club, grabs me, like, hey, come dance with me. And I looked at her like, oh my God, bro. I'm like, I do. Now her daughter was fine. Oh, whew. Now, this might be kind of jacked up. It might be kind of jacked up because but her daughter was married. Had her daughter had did that, I might have folded on my Drewski. I might have folded because her daughter was, whew, boy. My God, today she was cold. Oof. I'm just being transparent. I might have folded because Shorty, whew, she was nice, bro. I said, ooh, wee. But what was interesting is that her daughter peeped out the way. So I'm just, whether you behind closed doors or not, I'm really cognizant of how I deal with people. I try my best to be. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. So we're dancing. I don't know if I even had the video, but her daughter sent the mom a video, and we were just dancing. It was almost like swing. We were just dancing R&B. So I used all the stuff I do with salsa and bachata, and I just used those elements. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to like slow dance and grind or whatever with her. I didn't want to do. Nah, like I grew up doing that. I'm like, I don't know you, so I'm not gonna do all that. So I was really just respectful and da 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 da. And the daughter had told the mom, she's like, "Yo, the way this dude is dancing with you, just we didn't really talk a lot. I didn't really say too much. One, I didn't really want to get up and dance, anyways. I do enjoy dancing. I love dancing, but I really wanted to be by myself. I had fun. She basically they was like, and this is not me. This is not to my own horn. This is just what they were saying. It's like the way you were dancing with this lady, they could tell like, oh, you a cool dude, right? The way you operate, like I know that you're respectable. I know that you're this. I know that you lead a certain way. I'm like, and you saw that from me dancing. Yeah, bro, for real. I had it from earlier, but I had a lot more food. It was a really good omelet. It gave me the itis. It gave me and my daughter the itis. We was out. So she had chicken and fries. She still didn't finish her fries. I'm gonna have to eat them up because I ain't trying to let that go to waste. So you had all that going on, and she was out the gate like, "Hey, well, what do you like?" I'm like, I don't feel comfortable because I was still married at the time. I was like, you ought to come over to my house and I could cook for you. And what do you like to watch? I was like, oh, I like watching anime. Oh, da, 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 da. And I was just like, something didn't feel right. I was like, and eventually she unfollowed me. And I was like, cool. Because she was really trying to get me in that crib. I was like, no. So, but, and, um, I'll say this. I did entertain somebody later on down the line, and I had to repent for it. And I was like, I'm not okay. Because it was still like side dude energy. I'm like, no, I'm not signing up for this. Especially when you telling me you're gonna do something else and now I'm the side. Nah, we're not doing that. You nope, don't ever talk to me again. And I ain't talked to this other chick since. This was like maybe like a few months later. So yeah, cause it was a few months later. And so like as a like the divorce, I ain't fool with nobody. I ain't entertain nobody. I don't want to be bothered with nobody because I just see stuff for what it is. I'm just like, God, I'm just gonna trust you to, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna partner with you so I can get to where I need to get to. And when I meet my wife on the way, we locked in, we good. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of my other brothers are the same way. And so because of that, that's I'm like, I believe that we haven't yes. And so I'm just chilling. So yeah, going back to the song. Yeah. But it was done in my favor just so I can have a favor that's wrapped up in some pretty brown sugar, got me lifted, best believe it's going down. So that part of the line is a head nod to Frankie J. He has a song called Sugar. Sugar, how you get so fly? He said, you got me lifted. But lifted, shifted, higher than the ceiling. No way you start to me feeling. Right? So that's why I was like, Sugar got me lifted. Best believe it's going down. Right? So best believe it's going down is like just a little. That's a phrase, right? But you hear it's more popularly known because of Young Jock. It's more popularly known because a young jock back in the day had a song called "Meet Me in the Trap." Well, it's going down. "Meet Me in the Trap" is going down, and that was a very Black American colloquial. I can't say colloquial. I always say that wrong. Colloquial. I say that word wrong.
Colloquial.
It sounds wrong. It sounds wrong, but it's right. So we was like, yo, man, we're gonna go. It's finna go down. It's going down. We still say that now, but that was really a popular thing, especially because of the song. So it was just little head nods towards that, and that was it. And now this other part, actually, yeah, the I thought it was too late. That was gonna be the hook, but then meet me at the mall, right? It's going down. Meet me at the track, right? It's going down. Do, 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 do. Yeah, boy, them dances. Ah, boy, boy, boy. What a time. What a time. But like, there's a bridge, and it said, "Now I got a pep in my step. I can't wait to see what's next. Baby really about it. I'm blessed. Just to think it took so long to find you, girl. Now we got a message from the mess. It sounds so corny. Got a testimony from the test. Now we got a message from the mess. Got a testimony from the test. Baby really about it. I'm blessed, and I'm so glad we get to share our world. So initially that was supposed to be the pre-hook, and he was like, use that for. So basically, all the stuff I already had stuff. He was just like, just use it as a puzzle. Move this here, move that there, rewrite something, and that was it. And so once I did that, he's like, cool, we in there, and that was pretty much it. And yeah, so I know I'm long-winded, so I gotta chop this up and keep it short when I actually edit it. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. The song is called You and I. It's the last song for the year. Um I got a couple other singles that's out. I got a full album that's out. So we go backwards. We got Love in the Air, produced by V Smooth. We got something pretty remixed featuring Tiffany Evans, produced by myself and Bryant Caleb. Right, him and I, we did a collab on that production. We got the full album. Well, I got the full album, Love Language, where the song "Waifu" that Caleb helped co-producers on. He's on that one. Far as co-production, you got "Come Through," produced by Mr. Farrell, right? Michael Pruitt. Um, Lambada, the remix with Diana Feria. She did the tumbao part, the piano part of that. Which, when I think about it, I was like, it didn't sound no different than what I did. Like when I think more about it, I was like, that didn't sound any different than what I did. But whatever. So I left it like that. That's a whole other different discussion. But and then you got Lambada that was actually produced by this Puerto Rican cat by the name of Sammy Long, dope producer. He back in the day, he was telling me how he did some work with this cat named Sec. If y'all or Sech. Sech is a Panamanian reggaetonero. So he's really pretty dope at what he does. He said, "Yeah, I worked with him. We got put before he got put on." I was like, "Oh, that's what's up, though." But yeah, dope. So I like working with different people. So that, yeah, that's another producer that I worked with before, and I like collabing with people because they do things that I don't think of. I'm like, I ain't never thought of that. Cool, right? Because I'm like low key, high key, more of a neo soul artist, but I love like modern R&B or the 2000s R&B. I love that type of sound. I think a lot of us do. So yeah, but that's primarily it. I am gonna chop this up. Yeah, but so thank you for being on, Caleb. We locked in, bro. So that's it, bro. That's it. But yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to talk about that. Talk about behind the scenes of that song. What was my thought process concerning that particular song, and I'm looking forward to what happens going into the next year. I know some people we don't really talk about that. So at this point I'm looking at it from a seasonal perspective, not like oh next year, but no, just season. We're in a different season for some of us. We're in a different season. And that season might be a few months or a few years, but the season is different and the season is shifting or has shifted. It's what are you going to do in this new season that you find yourself in? Are you going to do the same things you did before that kept you in a certain state, a certain mindset, whatever that is? Are you going to continue in that, or are you going to move with the cloud? Right? When God was operating with Israel, he was a pillar of fire by night and a pillar of cloud by day. And whenever God moved, they moved. Like in the words of Ludacris, when I move, you move, just like that. Right? So it's like God is moving. He's moving a certain way. Are you going to still stay in whatever previous season you were in, or are you going to move forward with what he got for you next? Because what he has for you next is going to play a part in like other things and how you're going to actually be more of a blessing to other people. You know what I'm saying? Outside of yourself. And the other thing that what I wanted to say last, because I made a post on my IG, a story, and I was really like, I started removing. Who is? Oh, that's Leslie. I was like, who is that? Leslie Grace. I said, who is that? On my IG, on my story, I said, I appreciate folk who know and don't feel like they have to compete or compare. I'm gonna end it like that. We just do our own individual thing and we support each other. We're all at different places concerning our paths, and we still cheer people on. And I meant that. I meant that with my whole heart. I'm like, I'm not here to compete. Like, and Caleb knows this. We talked about little things here and there, or you know what I'm saying. Like, that's my guy. That's my dude. And my thing is, some people that they people say like monster. They some monitoring spirits is really a real thing, but it's just people's hearts. And some people may feel a way about how you got opportunity to work with this person and how you did this, and not knowing what work you put into doing it. Like you, like people like me and Caleb, we actually, and even do, we did actual work to get to like whatever point we're at. Like I actually had to do work just to even get to a point where Duke was like, we need to do something. I had to get to a point to where even Caleb was like, bro, I would love to collab with you. I had to actively do work way before I even met these people so we can make something dope. Stop being a freaking weirdo. Like my path is different from your path, right? And I had a point where I used to feel away. I was like, oh, I want this and I want that. Mm-mm. My path is different. So I got to a point where I started celebrating other people. And I was consciously like, God, if you can do it for them, I know you can do it for me. So I'm going to celebrate with them. And if I just don't like you, I just don't like you. And if I don't like you, I just don't even look at what you do. If I don't like you, if I feel a way about you, why would I continue to look at what you're looking at? Why would I continue to follow you anywhere on social? Why would I do that if I don't even like you? There's a couple people like I just don't like, and I don't follow. I'm not going. Why would I do that? I don't like you. I don't like how you treated me. I don't like what you did. So why would I continue to follow you? No, I'm unfollowing for my own peace of mind. So I don't be, oh my God, this person. Oh, there you go again. Now, if I just see you, then it's just whatever. You know what I'm saying? I see it. Oh, if I just see it by happenstance, that it is what it is. But I'm not gonna go out my way and hate and feel some way. No, I just don't deal with you. I don't want to see none of your stuff. I don't fool with you for what? Why would I do that for? Right? But even Caleb had to do work on his end well before we even met each other, so we can even have a conversation to say, hey, let's work together. Let's do something together. Right? I mean, clearly Duke was like well established before. I guarantee you he's at least in his 50s. I know that for sure because I'm 41. I'm pretty sure he's in his early to mid 50s. So he was already doing the work well before I ever was a thought. I was as a kid, as a teenager, trying to figure it out. I'm in the army trying to figure it out. He was already doing his thing. Y'all need to Google him too. Google him. His name is Rondo Duke Williams. Google this cat. Rondo, if y'all know how to spell his name Rondeau, Duke Williams. Look him up. It's Google. It's Google. Look him up. There's people that he's worked with. You be like, what the heck? And I'm even like, what the heck? But so it's well, how do you get a chance? Even with Tiffany Evans, how do you get a chance to work where I guarantee you, if I was not where I'm at, I guarantee you she wouldn't have did a song with me. If I didn't do any work on my vocaling, on my songwriting, I guarantee you she would not, even though it was business, I guarantee you she probably would have been like, nah. I think she worked with somebody else before and it wasn't all that great. I heard it and I was like, mm. But I guarantee you, if I actually wasn't at least halfway good or halfway decent, she would not have taken my money. Not for real, for real. She was like, nah, you need to do some more work. Nah, you need a vocal coach. Nah, you need this. No, I think you need to go back and record. I'll just say this. You know what she told me? I hope you like it. I was shocked. I'm like, I don't even know if you like what I did. You hope that I like what you did? That says, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm a client, I'm like, you had to listen from something from me to be like, okay, I'll work with that. If you look at the way that Tiffany is writing, she's writing from some, and there's no shade towards her. She'll probably never see this. Maybe she will. I don't know. I don't care. But she writes from, and this is kind of like where she's at. If you do some research and look at some of the blogs that she's talked about, like she's like, I don't think anybody's gonna love. I had to write from a place of like, regardless of how I feel, regardless of the fact that I got divorced, regardless of the fact that you know what I'm saying, I'm wired a certain way, and the wrong chicks just keep popping up, and I was entertaining them. I'm like, I'm gonna write from a place where I'm like, I know it's not gonna be like that. I know I'm gonna reach. I know I'm gonna meet and reach the right woman that God has for me regardless of actually how I feel and what I'm experiencing right now in my anguish and my frustration and me going through my healing process, I'm still writing from a place of there's hope. Her writing process is not like that. If you listen to Hope You Understand Me and Would You, she's not writing from a place of like, I'm in a healthy situation. It's, man, you broke my heart. Did you really love me? And I mean, and sometimes we need to go through that. But for her to switch and write from a place where it's like, I want this like you want this. And you listen to the lyrics that she wrote. She's like, don't mess this up. Cool. That's that. Your heart's a certain way because you've been hurt before. I get it. I've been hurt before too, but I'm optimistic. Why? Because I see like, oh shoot, this is something. You know what I mean? So it's like all of that. For her to be like, I hope you like what I did. That meant that I had to do some work for her to even fix her mouth and say that. That meant that I had to be somewhere to where it was good enough for her to even say, I hope you like this. Right? At minimum, I hope you like this. What if I didn't do any work? It ain't like it magically happened. You got some people, they're like, oh, this is a plant. Somebody did this. Yes, those are real things in some shape, form, or fashion, more or less. But guess what? I actually had to do work. I had to figure it out. I had to deal with people being funny acting and half the time it was church folk. That's a whole other different discussion. Right? So I'm dealing with all of that. I was like, no, I had to do work for at least people to be like, okay, I want to do something with this guy. This guy's actually really dope. I want to do something. You know what I mean? Like I had to do something. It didn't just fall in my lap. No, it didn't mean that at all. I like had to do work. Had to do work. There's people I still want to work with. I'm like, I'm gonna get to where I need to get to, so you can notice me, senpai. So I can do something to where you're like, dang man, I should have been working with you. I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep perfecting my craft. If you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna keep doing that. Like it's a blessing that I got a chance to work with Duke. That's a blessing. I thank God that he trusts me to work with him. I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. I'm like, wow. Okay. I'm mindful of my character. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm mindful of the way that I speak. I'm not gonna go into detail, but there's things that he just was like, fix this, fix that, and I never gave no pushback. There was one time I gave a concern, and he was like, "Nope, that's cool. I understand that. That's why I'm suggesting that you do this." I said, "Oh, okay, I get it. Cool," and I did it. There's a video of some singer. I don't know his name. I think he's well known now, but he was talking to this guy that discovered a couple of artists, and you know what I'm saying, really helped artists develop some well-known artists, and he's still active in the game. And I remember watching this video a few years back because when it was live, I think it was live, and the guy told this singer, I need you to go back and record that. I need you to hit this note a little bit like, and he literally flipped on the dude. Man, I don't wanna. I said, oh, I'm not gonna do that. I was like, bro, I said, that dude is better than me. I would have stopped working with him instantly. Like, today's your last day. I'm never working with you again. Today's your last day. That's what I would have did. I don't know if this particular guy still worked with him, with that particular singer after the fact, but I took that to heart. And I was like, I'm not going to do that to somebody that's technically an elder and an elder statesman. In the R&B realm, you mean to tell me I'm gonna flip on you because I'm not hitting the note right and you know that I'm doing it wrong? And you're telling me the note that you're picking, fix it, and I'm gonna spaz on you? Why would I do that? Like, you're more of a big deal than I am. Why would I think that I'm bigger than the program? And Buddy thought he was bigger than the program. And you still got people that are connected to different people, so it is what it is. But if it's who I think it is, I'm like, oh, that was that same guy. But I paid attention to that. He was cussing. Man, why the F I got a da da da? He was talking crazy. And I was like, he wasn't like cursing at the guy, but there was some curse words being said. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And that always like stuck in my head, especially with somebody, yes, my love. Yes, baby. I'm like, even when my teacher, Derek Carver, gave me suggestions, I didn't give him pushback. I was like, you know something that I don't, I'm gonna take that into consideration. And I did it. And you know what it did when I listened to that particular teacher? I got a course award for listening and taking his suggestion. I listened. The dude Derek Carver was like in his 50s, but he'd been in the game since like the 90s. So you think I'm not going to listen? No, especially especially when it registers, not just in my head and in my heart, but from my soul and my spirit. I'm like, yeah, that feels right, and I don't feel like something's off. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna listen. And usually they don't be saying these type of guys. They keep it short and sweet. Hey, blah blah blah. It's usually like one sentence or maybe two sentences, at most maybe three. Fix this. Okay. Fix this. Here's why.
Bob.
Fix this. Here's why. And then I'm like, okay. I fix it. And then we move on. But what if I was the guy that was, nah, I don't think I need to. What if I did Duke like that? Duke probably would have never worked with me again. He probably like, all right, don't worry about it. What if I did that? What if I did that? Do I have another version where I didn't change anything? Yeah. Because I'm like, what if I change it? He doesn't like to change. And then he says, go back to this. So I had it on standby just in case. I didn't tell him. He probably knows now if he watches it. But yeah, I listened. I said, okay. And I asked questions for clarity to make sure I understood what was being said. Like with Duke, he said da 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 da. I said, oh, well, what about this? And do you mean that when you say this? Yes. Okay, all right, bet. I just wanted to make sure I understood. Okay, I'm tracking. And I do that and I go about my business and I fixed it. But what if I like, man, I'm not doing that. Bro, you don't know what you're talking about. Man, why do I gotta change it? He said, change this because it's this. And I could have been like, nah, man, I think this is perfect. I think it should work. I just want to leave it. He would probably be like, okay, well, we'll just figure it out. Had I responded like that, how that singer responded with that other guy, I guarantee you, Duke would have been like, okay, that was gonna be the last time that he worked with me. Period. Like there wasn't gonna be a we'll see. If anything, it'd have been like, okay, bro, we're just gonna see what we do with this. He probably wouldn't have spoke to me again. He probably would have just gracefully removed himself, not even said nothing, and went on about his business. Right? So I always took that when that guy did that. I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. For real. There's people I'm like, oh, I'm not working with that person no more. I had to tell them. Recently, I like one guy I used to work with, like he basically he lied to somebody else. And then it was like, oh, well, you said this. I was like, but you knew what I was talking about. I didn't say that for da da da. And I was like, you never asked me no other questions outside that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna remove myself from the equation. And then I lost my other friend in the process. Hey, I'm gonna remove myself, or respectfully, I'm no longer gonna work with you. That's my thing. I'm gonna respectfully say, hey, whoa. So if you say something weird and crazy, and I know it's disrespect, hey, you know what? That's okay. I'm gonna you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying like it's not from a, hey, you're saying something and it rubbed me the wrong way, but I think I needed to hear that. No, it was just something just like, whoa, that was kind of out of pocket. and actually unnecessary, or you did something that was out of pocket and
Daddy,
unnecessary,
I want chicken.
you know what? That's okay.
Daddy, I want chicken.
Okay, I'm gonna cook, and and that's okay. I'm gonna respectfully remove myself from the equation. Y'all do what y'all want to do, and I try to be mindful. I don't be cussing nobody out. I don't be saying nothing crazy. I just be like, hey, you know what? That's all right. Don't even worry about it. I'm just gonna remove myself from the equation. So I'm like, so what if I did that with Duke and nah, man, I ain't doing that. Da, 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 da. Man, what you talking about, dog? He's like, oh, okay, don't worry about it. All right. He probably would hit me with the all right, cool. He probably would have never spoke to me again. Never ever. So I'm mindful of that. I'm mindful of that. I'm really mindful of that, right? So, but yeah, guys, that's it. Yes, baby. That's it. I'm gonna throw out this food because she want me to cook turkey. You want turkey, right? How many patties do you want?
3.
Okay, I'll cook 3 patties. I'll cook 4 just to be on the safe side, okay?